It turns out that former Representative Matt Gaetz might be returning to politics after all.
That's right. Gaetz spoke about his potential future endeavor on his show yesterday. Let's listen.
But it is true. Yesterday, the Tampa Bay Times texted me asking if I was considering running for governor of Florida. And of course I am. I am the true Florida man, after all. There are early smoke signals that if a return to Tallahassee is in God's plan for my family, lots of Florida Republicans would be pretty excited.
Gaetz told the Tampa Bay Times in an interview published yesterday that his primary concern was the insurance crisis. I have a compelling vision for the state. I understand how to fix the insurance problem, and it's not to hand the keys to the state over to the insurance industry. If I run, I would be the most pro-consumer candidate on the Republican side.
But does he have a reasonable shot at winning, though?
Let's listen to former CNN analyst Chris Cillizza airing his thoughts on this matter yesterday.
He is beloved in the MAGA community. And I honestly think, and I know people roll their eyes at this, but I honestly think he's the front runner to be the Republican nominee for governor in 2026. And if he is the Republican nominee, then he's the favorite to win because Florida has moved in the direction of Republicans in a pretty significant way in the last couple elections. So yes, you could absolutely see a Governor Matt Gaetz at this time in 2027. You know, he's going to be a pretty formidable candidate, even with all the baggage he brings to the race. So if you've been following me, you won't be surprised at this, but you should take Gaetz's potential candidacy, I think he's going to run, seriously.
The House released an ethics report in December alleging that Gaetz had paid for sex and for drugs.
Gaetz had resigned from Congress by then and, of course, then also decided not to move forward with his nomination to be President-elect Trump's Attorney General. Well, Matt Gaetz, our old friend, the ethics report found not only that he had regularly paid for sex, but that he had, at least on one occasion, engaged in sexual relations with a 17-year-old. He would have been 34 or 35 at that time. That, I think, speaks for itself, but, you know, to be clear, I think that is creepy behavior and also apparently illegal behavior because it is a felony under Florida law for anyone 24 or older to engage in sexual relations with a 16 or 17-year-old. I think that he is... I don't necessarily think that he will lose a Republican primary. I think he has a significant hold on that MAGA base, which is very strong. But I think that that in itself is evidence of how far the standards around public life have shifted. I'm not, in relation to private citizens' conduct, obviously I'm against 35-year-olds sleeping with 17-year-olds. Things like the use of illicit drugs or the exchange of money in relation. Well, anyway, we won't go too far down that.
Yeah, I don't care about any of those things.
Yeah, but I do think that those would clearly have been disqualifying things for anyone seeking public office in a previous era, and now apparently they're not.
Now they're not. Chris Cillizza is not my favorite commentator in the world, but he's probably right that if Matt Gaetz made a go of it, he would definitely have a shot at winning the Republican primary. Maybe he'd be the front runner. I think a lot of this very embarrassing and damaging personal behavior, which I don't care about whatsoever and would not stand in the way of my support or lack of support for Matt Gaetz, is embarrassing, however, and is not.
The 17-year-old wouldn't stand in the way of your support?
If you say that is against the law, then I would not support him. I don't know what exactly the law is in Florida.
But you would. But the fact of a 35-year-old man having sex with a 17-year-old girl in itself wouldn't disqualify him in your mind.
No. What would disqualify me would be his tax and regulation policies, I guess.
But she's underage, though.
If she's underage in the state of Florida, then yes, that would be disqualifying. You said that is underage. You said said it's just kind of gross. Right. I don't know if it's illegal. The age of consent is different in different. It's 16 in some states. It's 18 in other states.
Okay.
I don't particularly care.
But you don't think that it rises to the level of such inappropriate behavior as to be disqualified?
No.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
I think the tax and regulatory policies are what would disqualify if your mandate COVID policies would be disqualifying to me. Not again, if it would be disqualifying if you committed rape of a child because they're underage. I guess it's kind of creepy behavior. It's not ideal behavior, but I won't pretend that I care more about that than what the person's political policies are.
I believe it. Well, I believe that it falls under.
I mean, it's kind of gross to go into the exact. Well, what is it, 17 versus 18 versus 16? I mean, these are all kind of.
Well, we have to set the line somewhere to avoid juveniles being abused, I guess, is the point. In any event, Matt Gaetz is apparently going to run for, well, it seems likely that he's going to make this run. It seems likely that the party has moved to the extent that he will have a reasonable.
Well, I want to go back to this for a minute. Do you think 16-year-olds should be able to vote?
I have no objection to 16-year-olds voting.
Well, and they can get married in some jurisdictions. I think some of these, like, this is the age at which you can do this and this is what the age at which you do this, are wildly inconsistent. And I would just stipulate one universal age of adulthood, because it seems weird to me that military, driving, drinking, getting a tattoo, getting sex reassignment surgery, marriage, consent to sex are all at different ages in different places, and there's a lot of inconsistency, which is why maybe I'm not exercised as much about, well, if you can do this at this age, you can do this at this age, I don't care.
I mean, I suppose I just think that the Florida law that stipulates that it is a felony if the other party is over 24 seems sensible to me. I would not, if an 18-year-old man had sex with a 17-year-old girl, that wouldn't be creepy.
So then it's the gap in the relationship. Is it creepy if a 25-year-old girl and an 80-year-old man have a relationship?
No, because then she's of adulthood. I mean, no one really
Well, but
disputes
that's
a
what
25-year-old as an adult, though. There is a debate.
It seems like we're pushing the age of adulthood further and further back, and I wonder if that is not
I don't know.
necessarily.
I mean, I just think there is, I think, a legitimate, though difficult, conversation to be had as to what age people are fully capable of giving their consent.
Well, fine. If you're not an adult till 25, then I guess you shouldn't be voting, drinking, driving, or joining the military until you're 25. What I'm saying is just tell me what the age is, and it should probably be across the board.
But the argument in the case of the Florida law is to protect young girls who are 16 and 17 from much older men who, as a general rule, I think, there is a greater suspicion of predatory behavior with a much older man and a 16 or 17-year-old girl than there is of an 18-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl. I don't think that's an unreasonable
So if the genders were reversed, you would not think that law should exist? I mean, these are interesting philosophical debates.
No, would I think that it was fair for a 35-year-old woman to sleep with a 17-year-old boy? I would think that was equally creepy. Yeah, I mean, we see now increasing cases of female teachers being done frequently for having sex with male pupils, and I think that is predatory behavior.
Yeah, I just want one. I just want to know what one standard is, and it keeps getting pushed back to this is when you're adult, you're this innocent baby being taken advantage of, but you can join the military and you can drive a car and you can do all these other things, and I feel like we're making a permanently. If we're not expecting that you're a fully rational adult until well into your 20s, when that was historically that has not been the case, I don't know why that's.
Who would have thought Matt Gaetz would have led to such philosophical discussions? I do note that
people are going to be screaming that you creep, you want teenagers. I'm not saying any of that. Maybe it's creepy. I just don't. I see a lot of inconsistency in these age things, and it's weird to me. Yeah, my producers are telling me that I utterly discuss them. So we will wrap there. More Rising right after this.